Let's do
Right,
Berachos.
so Berachos, we're starting with Aleph 1.
No, let's start with Dalid Aleph.
Okay. Excuse me. The tefillah of the morning until noon. Rabbi Yehuda says till 4 hours of the day. The mincha tefillah until the evening. Rabbi Yehuda says until midway through the mincha. The evening tefillah is not fixed and the musaf is all day. Rabbi Yehuda says until the 11th hour. When the Reb Yechuma ben Hakana would enter the Beit Medrash and depart, he would offer a short prayer. They asked him, "What place is there for this prayer?" And he said to them, "When entering, I pray that no stumbling block should arise through me, and when I leave, I give thanks to my lot." Gamil says every person is obliged to recite Shemona Esrei daily. Rabbi Yeshua says a digest of Shemona Esrei. Rakiva says if the prayer is fluent in his mouth, he recites Shemona Esrei. If not, a digest of the 18. Okay.
Okay. Dalid, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, ha'oseh tefillah so kavah, ein tefillah so tachnonim. Okay, so if a person makes their tefillah a fixed thing, basically an obligation to discharge, it's not considered tachnonim. It's not like a heartfelt prayer to Hashem, and he clearly does not hold it in a high opinion. Now, it's an interesting thing. Is he just making a musar thing and saying that like every time you approach your prayer, it should be you should be focusing on it and thinking of it anew? Or is he actually having a machlokes? A lot of commentators say that he's actually being cholek on the previous Mishnah, in fact, on the whole institution of Shmoneh Esrei, because Shemona Esrei has got fixed words and fixed things that you say, and that's what you got to say every day. And he's saying, how could you do that? Okay, obviously the halacha is not like that. We do have a fixed tefillah for everyone, but many commentators hold that that he disagrees and thinks that you should not have that Chazal should not have made a fixed Shemona Esrei. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, hamahalech b'makom sakana mispelel tefillah katsara. So, in addition to your regularly scheduled tefillahs, a person who's in a dangerous place should make a short tefillah. Uh, it's appropriate to appeal to Hashem when you're in a makom sakana. And he says, what's a good thing to say? Hosha Hashem es amacha es sheris Israel. Save Hashem, your nation, the remainder of Israel. B'chol parshas ha'ibur yiyu tzorcheim lefanecha. At every parsha of the Ibur. Now, parshas ha'ibur is an interesting expression over here, which Kati explains. Even at the time when they're portion, when they lavera, even if they're doing things wrong, yiyu tzorcheim lefanecha. Just have mercy on them. Do let their needs be foremost in your mind. Baruch atah Hashem shomea tefillah. And even with the siyum of a Shem Hashem, making a bracha of shomea tefillah in the makom sakana, which is an interesting thing. Okay, lahalacha, I don't think anyone does that, but that would be if you're in a makom sakana, just saying Hashem, please save me, would probably um, do the trick. Okay, now we have a halacha that you're supposed to do when you're davening. You're supposed to be standing and facing Yerushalayim. If you're in Yerushalayim, you should be facing the Kodesh HaKodashim. Okay. Haya rochev al chamor. What happens if a guy's riding and he wants to, and it's getting time to daven, but he's afraid if he gets off his donkey and starts davening, the donkey is going to wander off or run away. So he's not going. I mean, aside from the loss of the donkey, he's also not going to be able to daven b'yishuv das because he's worried that his donkey is going to run away. So what should he? So first of all, lechatchila, he should get off his donkey and he should not be davening on the donkey if he has the option to tie it up or give it to somebody else to look after. But if he doesn't have that as an option to get off the donkey because and daven in place, yachzir panav. Then in his place he should turn his face towards Yerushalayim. And if he can't turn his face towards Yerushalayim because he needs to guide the donkey where to go, Yechaven es libo keneged beis kodesh hakodashim. And okay, then just put your heart towards it, and even if your body is not facing in the right direction, that
Never,
in conjunction with the next Mishnah, Haya Yoshe Besvina, the guy sitting in a ship. or
Right.
b'karon, or in a carriage, or ba'asta, or on a raft. Yechavein is libo keneged beis kodesh hakodeshim, because there you don't have the option to turn around and I mean, first of all, if a person's on a ship, he may not have any idea which is the correct direction. He's in a carriage, he can't stand up and turn around and face whatever, or on a raft. And I would add to this Mishnah on an airplane, um, that it's that I mean, I know a lot of people have this thing about making a million on LL flights. I'm really not a fan of it.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it possibly does more damage than good. Uh,
Yeah. I never know which way, even I'm sitting all the time. I don't come to dive in the minion, but I'm not even sure which way to go. So I have to have it in my head that's what I'm doing.
well, on the airplane, it's actually very easy. If you're flying into Israel, then you face forward, and if you were to be standing in a position like sometimes, yeah, I often order the bulkhead seat, where there's extra leg room, and standing space. So there I'm not disturbing anyone if I get up and stand.
Right, right.
It's my seat, it's my space. I can stand up if I want to. Okay, so there, if it comes to it, then I'll stand. And if I'm flying away from Israel, I'll turn around and face the back of the plane. And if I'm flying to Israel, then I'll face the front of the plane. Right? Makes
Okay.
sense. That's what LL does. They go
True.
to and from Israel.
I could never understand Mishnah Hay because why can't you just turn the donkey around instead of turning your face? Just have the donkey turn around and,
Oh, what if that's not the direction you want to go?
I mean, you can't like, I know like a horse, you can turn the horse, I
All
don't
of
know.
these things, are, according to the circumstances. Yes, okay, if you can, then sure, do.
Right.
That's a great idea. What if you can't? What if you're like on a mountain pass where you just there's not enough width in the path for you to
Right.
turn the donkey around? You can't dismount, uh, and you need to daven. So I guess you'll just sit on the donkey and
Right.
and face whichever way you need to face. Yeah, stop the donkey. Pull up the reins and make it stop walking at least. But if you
Right.
can't turn around, then
True. True.
all right. Let's
Okay.
keep that aside for a moment. Let's just finish off Utzin again.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Then we can move our bookmarks into the right place from Uqtin to Berachos.
Yud Aleph. From when do honeycombs contract tuma as a liquid? Beis Shammai says from when he heats the honeycombs. Beis Hillel says from when he crushes the honeycombs. The Yeshua ben Levi says, this time will come when the Holy One, blessed is he, will endow each and every righteous person with 310 worlds, as it is stated, to endow with substance those that love me, and I shall fill their treasures. Rav Shimon ben Kalafta said, the Holy One, blessed is he, found no vessel to hold blessing for Israel other than peace, as it is stated, Hashem gives peace to his nations, gives strength to his nations, and blesses his nation with peace.
Ajnallah, Maseches Uqtin. Okay, Berachos.
Brachos. Okay, first one of Brachos we have. From when does one recite Shema in the evening? From the time when the Kohen comes to eat of the Truma. At the end of the first watch, these are the words of Rabbi Eliezer. The sages say until midnight. Rabbi Gamaliel says until the pillar of dawn comes up. It happened that his sons came from a feasting house, and they said to him, "We not read Shema." He said to them, "If the pillar of dawn has not come up, you are still obligated to read." And not this alone, but whoever the sages stipulated until midnight. The mitzvah still obtains until the pillar of dawn. The burning of the fats and limbs may be performed until the pillar of dawn comes up, and all the offerings that are to be eaten in one day, the period of performing the mitzvah lasts until dawn. If so, why did the command stipulate till midnight to keep one far away from transgression?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Zavim.
In a case of a Zav who is lying upon five benches or upon five money belts, if he lies along their length, they are still tummy. However, if he lies across their widths, they are all tahor. If he slept and there is a doubt whether he may have turned around on them, then they are all tameh. If the Zav is lying upon six chairs with his two arms resting upon two of them, his two legs resting upon two of them, his head upon one and his body upon one, only this one and that beneath his body is tameh. If the Zav was standing on two chairs, Rav Shimon says that they are distant one from the other, they are tahor. In a case where 10 shows were placed one on top of the other, and a Zav slept upon the top one, they are all tummy. In a case where a Zav was on one pan of a scale and the couch or seat was on the opposite side, if the Zav weighed down his side, they are tahor. If they weigh down their side, they are tummy. Reb Shimon says in the case of single couch or seat is tummy, but in the case of many, they are tahor because no one couch or seat may support a majority of his body. If a zav is on one pan of a scale and food and beverages on the second pan of the scale, they are tame. But with regard to a corpse, everything is tahor except for a person. This is the stringency that applies to a zav over a corpse, and this is the stringency that applies to a corpse over a zav. A zav creates a couch and a seat beneath him with the ability to contaminate a man, to contaminate his clothing, and on top of him, the zav creates a madaf with the ability to contaminate food and beverage, whereas a corpse does not have the power to contaminate in these ways. There is a stringency that applies to a corpse that a corpse contaminates in an ohel and contaminates others with tuma that lasts for 7 days. Whereas a zav does not have the power to contaminate in this way.
Okay.
Okay. We were
So,
doing a shir with Daniel this morning, and we're talking about doing Maya Makaronim now, the Shulchan Aruch, and he comes up and he says, so what happens? We're talking about drying your hands and everything, and someone said something about bread. And I said, you can't use the bread because your hands are wet. You're gonna bring the tumor right back to you again. I was thinking of the Mishnah. So I'm saying, said, oh, I got
good.
all right.
Good. Hey,
Okay.
Taurus. Hey, hey.
Taurus. Regarding two paths, one Tameh and one Tahor, if one walked on one of them and prepared Taharos, and his friend came and walked on the second path and prepared Taharos, Rabbi Yehuda said, each of one required separately, both are Rut Tahor, but if both people are required together, they are Rut Tameh. Rabbi Yossi says, either way, they are both Tameh. Regarding two loves, one Tameh and one Tahor, if someone ate of one of them and prepared Taharos, and his friend came in and ate the second loaf and prepared Taharos, Rabbi Yehuda says, if each of them inquired separately, both are Rut Tahor, and if both inquired together, they are both Tameh. Rabbi Yossi says, either way, both are Tameh. And regarding someone who was sitting in the public domain and one came and tread on his clothes or spit and he touched his saliva, with regard to his saliva, we weren't truma. But with regard to his clothes, when we follow the majority, if he was sleeping in the public domain and then awoke, his clothes are tummy as a midras. These are the words of Meir, but the comments rule of Tahoe. If someone touched a person at night and does not know whether that person was alive or dead, and in the morning he rose and found him dead, but Meir rules that he is tahor. But there's the case, the sages rule that he's tameh all because all uncertainties of tumah are decided according to the status at the time of their discovery.
Okay.
Okay.
Tamid.
And tamid. Okay. Hey, the one who won the privilege of the tamid pulls it and goes to the slaughtering area, and those who won the privilege of carrying the limbs follow him. The slaughtering area was located to the north of the altar, and on it were 8 dwarf pillars and a square of cedar was on top of them. And iron hooks were set into the cedar blocks, and there were 3 sets of hooks for each and every one, from which they would hang the animals and skin them upon marble tables that stood between the pillars. The ones who won the privilege to clear the ashes from the inner altar and from the menorah would proceed, and 4 vessels were in their hands: the basket, the jug, and the 2 keys. The basket is similar to a large sakav vessel made of gold. It holds 2 kavs and a half, and the jug is similar to a large pitcher made of gold. And regarding the 2 keys, there is one that he thrusts into the armpit, and one which he opens quickly. He came to the northern minor doorway. The great gate had 2 minor doorways, one on the north, one on the south. The one to the south, no man ever entered through it, and the reason for this is explained by the prophet Ezekiel. Hashem said to me, the gate shall be closed, it shall not be opened, the man shall not come through it, because Hashem, the God of Israel, comes through it, it shall be closed. He took the key and opened the minor doorway and entered the cell. And from the cell to the Hakel until he reached the great gate, and when he reached the great gate, he removed the bolt and the locks and opened it. The slaughterer would not slaughter until he heard the sound of the great gate being opened.
Okay.
I think this is where they said they could hear the great opening up in Hebron. That was
That's coming up.
yeah.
Yericho, not Hebron.
Aleph. Gold acquires silver, but silver does not acquire gold. Gold acquires silver, but silver does not acquire copper. Disqualified coins acquire current ones, but current ones do not acquire disqualified ones. Unstamped metal acquires coins, but coins do not acquire unstamped metal. Movables acquire coins, but coins do not acquire movables. This is the rule. All movables acquire each other. How? If he took the produce from him, but did not give him money, he cannot retract. If he gave him money, but did not take the produce from him, he can retract. They said, however, whoever exacted retribution from the people of the generation of the flood and from the generation of the dispersion will exact retribution from one who does not abide by the spoken word. Reb Shimon says, whoever has the money in his possession has the upper hand. The amount that constituted fraud is from silver miles out of 24 silver miles, which are equivalent to a seller and a sixth of the purchase. Until when can one revoke the sale? Until he is able to show the item to a merchant or to his relative. Reb Tarfon ruled in Lod, the amount constitutes fraud is 8 silver miles out of a seller, a third of the purchase, and the merchants of the Lod rejoice. He said to them, for a whole day one may rejoice the sale. They said to him, let Reb Tarfon leave us alone in our place, and they went back to the words of the sages. Okay. Ches. Like its procedure on weekdays, so it was the procedure on the Sabbath, except that the Kohen rinsed the temple pure without the consent of the sages. If Yehuda says he would fill a cup with the mixed blood and throw it once upon the altar, but the sages did not agree with him. How did they suspend and flay them? Iron hooks were fixed into the walls and into the pillars on which they suspended and flayed the Pesach. Anyone for whom there was no room to suspend and flay his animal, there were thin, smooth staves there, which he placed upon his shoulder and upon the shoulder of his fellow, and so hung and flayed it. If Eliezer says, if the 14th fell on Sabbath, he placed his hand on his fellow's shoulder. If the hand of his fellow rested upon his shoulder, and thus he suspended and flayed. He tore it open and removed the sacrificial parts, put them in a plate, and burned them upon the altar. The first group went out and remained on the Temple Mount, the second group in the Kale, and the third group remained where they were. After dark, they went out and roasted their Pesach offerings.
Okay, and that's it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, have a great day.
Hey,
Enjoy.
wonderful day.
Yes, you too. Thank you. Bye.